Hello, all my bottoms up babes. This is your soul master, Carrie, taking the messiness in life, mixing it up, finding the message, and serving it to you straight. Because healing isn't linear, it's layered, and sometimes the breakdown is just the beginning of your breakthrough. Here, we honor the ache, speak the life into silence, and give the broken pieces a place to belong. This is the space where truth meets tenderness, where your story is sacred and your scars are seen. So breathe deep, open up, listen up, and let the healing begin. Hello, all my bottoms up babes. This is your soul master, Carrie, taking the messiness in life, shaking it up, finding a message, and serving it to you straight. Today, I want to talk about keeping faith through the storm. But before I begin, I want to tell you about some exciting things coming up. I have been doing a bunch of interviews with different individuals, some with podcasts, some with published books, so many great individuals, and I cannot wait to share it with you. So make sure you tune in to the episodes coming up because I have so much to offer and so much for you to not take advantage of. So let's begin. Life has a way of throwing storms our way. Unexpected loss, broken relationships or marriages, sickness, betrayal, financial struggles. Storms are actually a blessing. They're to make you aware of changes that are needed or the value of life and love and time, especially in today's economy and just where we are in life. Everything is so stressful and fast paced and, the time just gets away from us. And I mean, everybody says, I can't believe, there's not enough time in the day for things. And that's just it. Sometimes our struggles are to slow us down, to make you aware of reality and not the subconscious reality that we're entertaining every single day. It's not for destruction, but discovery. It's not for failure, but for finding. It's not for chaos, but compassion. And it's not for breaking you. It's to bless you. Bigger plans, better plans for you to see. In order for the blessings ahead to change, you must take change. And change, it begins with you. You have to change that mindset. You have to value yourself and see within yourself before any blessings can occur. Because the truth is, it's making you stronger because a lot of times we're entertaining people that aren't even deserving of the blessings that are coming our way. Or maybe we're doing something else that will cause the blessing to be lost. So we have to make sure and we have to look within and build ourselves within before any blessings can come our way. You must see the strength and the answers that are within you. You must have silence to surrender to the faith and the trust that lies ahead. You must sacrifice the old you. I'm sorry, but things can't come with. The destruction of environments and thoughts entertaining the subconscious mind that's filled with others' opinions and pain and destruction to seek your true purpose. Faith is moving with trust, not just vision of expectations fulfilled. To be obedient, to walk towards Christ. And once you do, you will meet his plan for you. I want to tell you a story about me. So, as we all know, and I've shared with you guys, I dated an abusive individual. It was a very toxic relationship. The first time that he had committed domestic violence, domestic battery against me, I dropped the case because he loved me. He never did it before. He didn't mean it. All the victim type stuff that you go through and, you love them so much. So I dropped the case. And no more than about 4 to 6 months later, he did it again. And this time, when I had him arrested for it, he had harassed, he had, called my phone 1,000,000 times. He wanted to obviously say his sorries again. And I almost did drop that case again because I just couldn't deal with the harassment that came along with it to keep it going. But in my heart, I knew that I loved him so much and unconditionally that I wanted to get him help. I wasn't actually, that's the sad thing is I wasn't even doing it to protect myself, which I should have been. That should have been the reason. But I was doing it because I thought if I get him in front of a judge, the judge will see that this is not common behavior. What he's doing is wrong. And that's how I can help him. Well, sure enough, because the judicial system is just totally messed up, and that's a whole nother story for a different day. But of course, because what had happened was he had wanted me to get into the shower and I refused to do so. He kept opening the curtain, I kept closing it, and then next thing you know, I was hit unconscious in my head with the shower curtain. And because because he opened and I closed the shower curtain twice, they deemed it that it could have been an accident instead of what had happened. So that's when I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. He's going to kill me now, because I brought this all the way to trial thinking that hopefully I get him in front of this judge. She has him take, whatever classes or gets him help, because I know what he's doing is wrong, but I love him too much to turn my back on him. You see, I'm the type of person that any relationships I have, whether it be friends, lovers, I am an unconditional, I am the true sacrificial lamb of love and commitment and so forth. So for me, how could I turn my back on someone I loved most when I saw that they needed me most? And that was where my mind was with the whole situation. So after I saw, though, obviously I added fuel to the fire of his anger by keeping this case going and not giving him his way, thinking that I was going to drop it like I did the first one. That's where it was game on. Even though he got not guilty, I still continued to get the repercussions of the case. He would message me, "Karma's going to get you." I ended up taking boxing lessons because I was afraid that he was going to jump out somewhere or come and get me. So I wanted to have protection. I became an insomniac. I was in the hospital like 22 times throughout this whole entire episode because of the stress. It was literally killing me. And it was like I'll admit, I even caved a couple times being in the trauma bond to the order of protection because, again, I loved him so much and I just wanted to get him help. And so what had happened was, now, about another month or so later, I'm at my wit's end. I've already tried the court stuff. I was in court for like 8-9 months with the whole case. I tried to get him in front of professional people. I've called the police. I went through every chain of command that you can possibly think of. And this man is still harassing, still abusing, still all of it. And so one day I was out with my friends and I had my phone with me, and of course he had called no caller ID block about 47 times. It actually became like a running joke for the night. We put my phone in the middle of the table and my girlfriends and I were like, let's take bets. Do you think it'll be 70 times, 22 times, 44 times? And I at this point was starting to learn the characteristics of narcissism and stuff. And so I knew that I shouldn't hit answer the phone because it just, they like any kind of attention, whether it's bad attention or good attention. So I purposely wasn't answering my phone. And then about an hour or so after I was out, my son had called me and stated he needed a ride home. So that's where I started to head home. Well, on my way home, it was just call after call after call. And you guys, I just had enough. And this is where I made the mistake because I went to his home. I rang the doorbell. I stood there and he came out from the back of his home. And at this point, I didn't care if I died or lived because he had pushed me so far over the edge. All the hospital visits, my time off of work, my time in the courthouse. I mean, at this point, I just wanted to know what he wanted from me. If he wanted to kill me, now was the time. Did you want money? Did you want, my firstborn child? I mean, at this point, it was just to that extreme that I couldn't take it anymore. And I had learned later after this situation that I guess it's called reactive abuse. I did not know that at the time. Obviously, I was just starting into therapy and stuff because I was literally losing myself. But so anyway, I went to his house and my sole purpose, like I said, was to say, just kill me, take me already. I can't live life suffering like this. You are driving me over the edge. I'm literally dying anyway. I was in the hospital for severe malnutrition and severe dehydration because I couldn't keep anything down from my stress levels. I would either vomit it up or, from the other end. So yes, I was dying anyway. So at this point I was like, if he's going to kill me, let's just get it over with. I think this peace would be better with me dead. That's probably maybe the only time I'll see peace now. So what he did was he picked me up, he threw me at the end of his driveway on the ground. I got up, and he started to proceed to his neighbor's door. And I was like, no, talk to me. Like, I want to get to the bottom of this. I can't live like this anymore. And when he reached to go, a couple times he like put his hand up, and I went to like, just like put my hand up to like protect myself or whatever. And then when he went to go ring the doorbell, I like swooshed him from the door. And I was like, no, talk to me. I want this to end. Well, clearly people obviously heard us outside yelling, and someone had called the police, because then all of a sudden the police sirens came. So I got in my car and I was like, don't ever call me again. If you do, I will, file harassment charges against you. Like, I'm not afraid of you anymore. I had enough. So then I like drove 2 blocks or so down, and the police pulled me over, of course. And they were like, did you just have this domestic situation? And I was like, listen, this man has called me 40 whatever times. I showed the guy my phone. I'm like, I've been in court with this man. Like, at this point, I just want him to do whatever it is that he wants to do to me, because he's driving me into the ground. I mean, and so the officer was like, just hang tight. And it was Memorial Weekend 2 years ago. And so he's like, just hang tight. He's like, you made the mistake by going to his house. I'm like, I know, but at this point, I can't even go and live my own life. He's calling me. I mean, I didn't plan to go to this man's house. I'm out with my friends. And, this is ridiculous. And he was doing other things. My only place of peace was my church, and he was showing up at my church. Like, it was just, I was running from the devil, you guys. I was literally running from the devil. And so anyway, I sat there with the officer while his partner officer was at his home. And the next thing you know, the officer looks at me, like his partner and him, they walkie-talkie to each other, whatever you call it. And he looked at me and he's like, put your hands behind your back. I'm like, what? And I like literally started laughing, because I thought the guy was joking around with me. And he's like, no, I guess he said that you did domestic battery against him. I was like, this is a joke, right? I'm like, he's the one that picked me up and threw me on the end of his driveway. And they were like, well, I guess we saw like you swatting at him, which was, like I said, I wanted him to not ring the doorbell, to not call the police, so that he would talk to me to get to the bottom of the case. And so sure enough, they took me in for domestic battery. Even in the police report, it says that my fingertips grazed his shoulder blades. Like, I mean, it's literally you can FOIA the report. It's literally in the report. But he did it purposely. That was my karma for making him go, because he purposely did it on a holiday weekend as well. So I couldn't just stay in the local police station. They actually, if anyone's from Chicago, 26 in California, they actually transferred me to 26 in California, and I couldn't see a judge until Tuesday. So I was in there for 4 days. I am not a convict. I don't do harm. I don't have a record or anything of that nature. People that know me, and have known me their whole life, know that I am a kind person. And not that I have to sit here and, defend myself by any means, but I'm just saying, like, this for me, like, when people heard, even, they were like, what? Like, you of all people? Like, so, but I'm telling you, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because that was faith. I remember sitting there in the jail cell, and they put like 78 of us that day in the same cell. I mean, I was in here with murderers, rapists. I did not sleep. I was like on adrenaline times 500, because I thought if I fall asleep, someone will probably try and rape me. And I mean, you had people in uniforms, like doc uniforms, like inmates. I mean, it was very, very traumatizing. Ugh, sorry, can't talk. But anyway, so I remember sitting there, and they give you one piece of bread and one piece of bologna, and you get that 3 times a day. And the bologna was like the color of wood. So clearly I wasn't going to eat that. So I was sitting there picking apart the bread. And I remember saying to myself in my head, like, give us this day our daily bread. And I want to tell you guys too, like, I'm not this like Bible thumper, crazy religious, like churchy, like woman. Okay. Like when I quote faith and structure and talk about God and so forth, like I found God, like I know that this was God that saved me. And that is where I became a believer. I've always believed in God. I've always gone to church, like as a child. And, I've always believed in the higher self, in Christ. But I was never I never sat there and read a Bible and was quoting Bible verses all day or anything like that. So, trust me, I have come from sin. I've done stupid stuff in life. I came from a very hard life. So when I say these things, I'm telling you this from my heart as a believer. And if you don't believe, or maybe you are or were where I once was, where you're okay, yeah, God, but I never really had a feeling or a knowing of it or whatever. Possibly if you're listening right now and you are at the bottom or you're struggling, this is God showing you the relationship and that there's faith and that you are so loved and so cared for, but you have to use your free will and find it within yourself. And a lot of times what we do is we seek exteriors. So we are looking for the answers to our divine self and to our authentic self outside of us, and the answer is inside of us. But anyway, so back to my story. I was in this jail 4 days, and I didn't know at the time, but I was losing faith. I'm how could God do this to me? This man is literally abusing me and beating me up, and I go to court and I waste all this time, my, money, time, my stress. I'm the one sitting here dying, and now I'm the one that's framed as the inmate and the convict and the, bad person and so forth. I just couldn't believe it. I thought, how could God see everything, how much love and the things I've done for this man and how much he's abused me mentally, physically, emotionally, and this can't be, And so I was losing faith. I was seriously, I was turning my back on God and Christ, and now on the other side of it, I see that was actually God saving me, because here this man beat me twice, you guys. I dropped the first case, went through on the second case, and I still felt like I probably still couldn't have turned my back. And so when people ask individuals, how do you not leave after this person's abusing you? Ask yourself that question with someone you unconditionally love, like your child or something. If your child did something wrong, or someone you unconditionally loved, or love, I should say, does something wrong, would you turn your back on them? So I knew I would have went back. And so this was God's way of saying, listen, this man has beat you twice, has caused you so much harm, has turned your whole life upside down. You sit in this jail cell and you sit in silence and you look inside yourself and you see that this is me saving you, and you stop going back to that person. Enough is enough. And that literally was, once I was in that jail and I went through 19 months of court. Of course, obviously I won the case. I mean, I never doubted that, because of course I know that, you have to prove the truth. And I knew what the truth was. The truth was what I told the whole entire time. And the truth is what set me free. And that's where why I'm here and telling you my stories and things today. Because if you are losing hope and you are losing faith, I'm telling you, only God can see the side of the mountain that you can't see. And if you go into the Bible in Genesis 22, verse 9, Abraham was giving his son for a sacrifice, his son Isaac. And as Isaac laid on, Abraham had to build the place where Isaac was going to be sacrificed. And so he built it, and as Isaac laid there, in verse 9 is where it explains all this. And then in verse 13, it says how a ram got his horn stuck, and the ram was basically how he was able to get his son and then sacrifice the ram instead of his own child. So if you're at verse 9 in life, you have to keep going, because you can't see verse 13 yet. And that is where you need to have trust and faith and not lose faith, because you cannot see God's provision ahead. So ask yourself, why blame God for his lack of provision when you're bankrupt in your own obedience? You have to do the work. You have to seek inside yourself, and you have to know that even though this isn't planned, or where you are in life right now, or maybe you're in a dark place like I was, sitting in a jail room with 78 actual individuals that have caused harm and destruction in life. And not only that, but yeah, Jesus was a inmate as well. It's like I look back at all this and I'm thinking, oh my God, he's like, daughter, you need to listen, and you just keep going forward, keep being obedient, keep walking in Christ, to know that his plan is so much bigger for you. So as we come to a close of this episode, I just want to remind you, storms are not meant to destroy you, but to strengthen you. The winds may shake you, the waves may, rise against you, but your faith is truly an anchor that's going to hold you steady. Every storm has an end. There's nothing in life is forever. It's all temporary. And when the clouds finally break and the light shines through, you'll see that you weren't just surviving, you were being transformed. So if you're listening today and you feel like you're still in the middle of your storm, please hold on. Keep believing, keep trusting. The same God that carried you into the season is going to be the same one that carries you out. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And until next time, stay grounded, stay hopeful, and keep faith through every storm. I'm always here for you too, and many prayers. Talk soon. Have a great day.